The Cenobites are coming. Get ready as I present a review of Clive Barker's Hellraiser. Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. Greetings, my fellow YouTubers, and welcome to Big D's Entertainment Rankings and Reviews. My name is Doyle, better known to y'all as the Big D, and this time around I bring to you a review of the 1987 British supernatural horror flick Hellraiser, released by New World Pictures in the US, written and directed by Clive Barker in his directorial debut, based on his novella The Hellbound Heart. Anyway, the film involves a puzzle box which summons a murderous group from another dimension who can't differentiate, it's hard to pronounce that word, between pain and pleasure, called Cenobites. That's Cenobites with a Cenobits. And are led by the lead Cenobite, who of course would be identified in the follow-ups to these as Pinhead. Yes. So, let's get into our story. We start out in Morocco when a man named Frank Kime buys a puzzle box from a dealer. In a bare egg, when Frank solves the puzzle, hooked chains emerge and tear him apart. Later, the room is filled with swinging chains and covered with the remnants of his body. A black-robed figure picks up the box and returns it to its original state, restoring the room to normal. Sometime afterward, Frank's brother Larry moves into the house to rebuild his strained relationship with his second wife, Julia, who had an affair with Frank shortly before their wedding. Larry's teenage daughter, Christy, has chosen not to live with him and moves into her own place. Larry cuts his hand while carrying a mattress upstairs and lets his blood drip on the attic floor. The blood resurrects Frank as a skinless corpse. Really freaky. Was soon found by Julia. Still obsessed with Frank, she agrees to bring people back for him to drain so that he can be fully restored, and they can run away together. Julia begins picking up men in bars and bringing them back to the house where she mortally wounds them. Frank sinks his hand into the dying bodies, draining their life, regenerating his body. Frank explains to Julia that he had exhausted all sensory experiences and sought out the puzzle box, with the promise that it would be able to open a portal to a realm of new carnal pleasures. When solved, the Cenobites came to subject him to the extremes of sadomasochism. Christy spies Julia bringing a man to the house. She follows her to the attic where she interrupts Frank's latest feeding. Frank attacks her, but Christy throws the puzzle box out the window, creating a distraction and allowing her to escape. Christy retrieves the box and flees, but collapses shortly thereafter. Awakening in a hospital, Christy solves the box, summoning the Cenobites and a monster called the Engineer, which Christy narrowly escapes from. The Cenobites' leader explains that although they have been perceived as both angels and demons, they are simply explorers from another dimension seeking carnal experiences, and they can no longer differentiate, that's how you say it, between pain and pleasure. When they attempt to force Chrissy to return to their realm with them, she informs their leader, who would be named Pinhead, that Frank has escaped. The Cenobites agree to take Frank back, and in exchange say they will consider giving Christy her freedom. However, the catch is that Frank has to confess to escaping them. Now, I'm sure a lot of you horror fanatics have seen this movie already. So if you have, and if you haven't seen this, well, here's that time again. Yep, here's the time. Yep, it's that time again to get to the ending. So if you haven't seen this movie, you stop this video, go to the description box below, and fast forward to the time below to avoid ending spoilers. You got 5 seconds to do this. Here we go. Okay, you've been warned. Alright, Christy returns home where Frank has killed Larry and taken his identity by stealing his skin. Julia shows her what is purported to be Frank's flayed corpse in the attic. Locking the door behind her, the Cenobites appear and, not fooled by the deception, demand the man who did this. Chrissy tries to escape but is held by Julia and Frank. Frank reveals his true identity to Christy, and when his sexual advances are rejected, he decides to kill her to complete his rejuvenation. He accidentally stabs Julia instead and drains her without remorse. Frank chases Christy to the attic, and when he is about to kill her, the Cenobites appear after hearing him confess to killing her father. Now sure he is the one they are looking for, they ensnare him with chains and tear him to pieces. With Frank out of the picture, the Cenobites decide to take Christy. Ripping the puzzle box from Julia's dead hands, Christy bashes the Cenobites by reversing the motions needed to open the puzzle box. And Christy's boyfriend shows up and they both escape the collapsing house. Afterward, Christy throws the puzzle box onto a burning pyre. A vagrant who has been stalking Christy walks into the fire and retrieves the box before transforming into a winged skeletonized creature and flying away. The box ends up in the hands of the merchant who sold it to Frank, offering to another prospective customer. End of story. So, what did I think of Hellraiser? Well, I watched this last year and on Tubi, and I just watched it again on Amazon Prime. Well, after watching it again, I'm going to say it is a real shocking, gory horror experience. Well, I must admit, I liked Clive Barker's direction and what have you. The story's good too. I also liked its score, which was done by Christopher Young. Now, actually, Barker wanted the electronic music group known as Coil to perform the music, but on insistence from producers, the film was rescored by Mr. Young. Now, some of Coil's themes were reworked by Young into the final score, however. Anyway, we do have a pretty good cast here. We have Claire Higgins as Julia, Andrew Robinson as Larry, and Sean Chapman as Frank, Ashley Lawrence in her first film appearance as Christy, Robert Hines as Steve, and also as our Cenobites we have Oliver. We have Oliver Smith as Skinless Frank, aka Frank the Monster. As the Cenobites, we have Doug Bradley as the lead Cenobite, aka Pinhead, who actually would later go on to reprise that role for the next 7 of the 9 sequels. Then we have Nicholas Vince as the Chattering Cenobite, Simon Bamford as the Butterball Cenobite, and Grace Kirby as the female Cenobite. Anyway, Pinhead is become a popular horror, monster icon alongside other monsters we know of in 80s horror, like Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees, and to even classic ones like Michael Myers and so on. But anyway, I'm going to say this was really a shocking flick. I mean, was pretty creepy and freaky though. But what can I say? I liked Hellraiser. After watching it, giving it a second chance, I gotta say it's a good horror flick. So the question is, would I recommend Hellraiser? Let me put to you in a good way. Hell yeah, this you need to see. Now it has been released in various forms on home media, most notably from Anchor Bay Entertainment and more recently from Arrow Films. It's been almost 4 years ago when they released a Scarlet Box with most of the materials they've had on their UK release, which had the second and third ones. I'm going to plan to watch the second one next week, in my view. I can't guarantee a review though, since I'm completely booked for the rest of the month. No hard feelings, but I promise I will make up for that. Okay, you can be sure of that. Anyway, yeah, because that's going to be the only Hellraiser sequel I'll be able to see. Until I can find a way to watch maybe the third one. I think the third one's supposed to be good anyways. But I've heard from there on out, I think the series goes downhill because the rest had different actors. Well, and the last two had different actors play Pinhead, and I don't think people weren't too thrilled with that. Well, by that I mean my fellow horror fanatics and what have you. So anyway, well, what did you think of Hellraiser? Please tell me in the comment section below. If you like this video, click the like button below, subscribe to my channel as well, and be a part of the Big D Nation. Join me next time when I bring to you a review of The Exorcist 3, another shocking horror flick. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for watching. Now, if you liked this, you might want to check out my reviews for these other two films that New World had actually released. In the upper left-hand corner is my review of the original Children of the Corn from 1984. The upper right-hand corner is my review of House from 85, I believe it was. Or maybe it was 1986. Oh dear. No, wait a minute. Scratch that. Yeah, I think it was. Sorry. And if you want more horror, or if you want a creature feature or something like that, go to the bottom left-hand corner and check out my recent review of, well, maybe not a creature review, but if you want to see just slashers, go to the bottom left-hand corner for my recent review of Popcorn. And the bottom right-hand corner is the button you can click to subscribe. Forgive me if I got carried away trying to find what I was going to talk about. But anyway, if you like rankings and reviews on movies, TV, music, video games, etc., then I'm your guy. Thanks for watching. Until next time, I'm the Big D saying, see ya.